and I'm not going anywhere. All right.
It's a critical day for President Joe Biden as he tries to reaffirm Americans he can lead the country for another 4 years. The president will be interviewed on ABC and is holding a campaign event in Wisconsin. Yesterday, the president gave some unscripted remarks at the White House, refusing to step down after his debate performance. Voters in the United Kingdom end 14 years of Conservative Party rule and elect the Labour Party to power. The next Prime Minister will be Labour Party leader Keir Starmer. Outgoing Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said the change in power will happen in a peaceful manner, goodwill on all sides. Hurricane Beryl is heading toward Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula after leaving a path of destruction in Jamaica. Officials confirming at least 9 people have died as a result of that storm. Beryl was the earliest Category 5 hurricane in the Atlantic ever. The vast majority of those evacuated due to California wildfires are still battling 24 active wildfires across California.
Our firefighters are battling fires across California and oftentimes on the line for more than 24 hours. It's a difficult conditions that they face.
Those are your headlines. Now here's your weather on the ones.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Julie Mark. As dangerous heat for the West continues through the holiday weekend, Portland at 99 degrees, LA is 90, and Las Vegas is 113 degrees. But we're also feeling the heat across Florida with Jacksonville at 94. Look at Raleigh at 100. Not that hot across the Midwest as showers and thunderstorms move through. So Chicago into Columbus and parts of New York with rain today.
I'm Jenna Enoch. Today is Friday, July 5th. Our top story, President Joe Biden participating in a high-stakes interview on ABC tonight as he works to save his campaign following a disastrous debate performance and growing Democrat discontent. The president will also be holding a campaign event in Wisconsin where he'll have another chance to showcase his vigor on the road following last night's 4th of July celebrations at the White House. Spectrum's Angie Gonzalez has more.
President Joe Biden travels to the swing state of Wisconsin today. He'll be accompanied by First Lady Jill Biden for a campaign event and sit down for an interview which will air in prime time. His campaign also announcing this morning it's running a $50 million media blitz for the rest of July, targeting what he calls key high-impact moments that draw in a broad, diverse audience like the Olympic Games performance last week. That's already the case for his 4-minute speech to military service members Thursday.
We're the only nation in the history of the world that has gone through every crisis and come out stronger than we went into the crisis, every single time. And by the way, I've been all over the world with you. I've been in and out of battles anyway.
Any slip-ups could further sow doubt among a handful of skeptical Democrats who have publicly asked him to step aside as the party's nominee for president. Others say the next few days will be critical for Biden's campaign.
And now he's got 1,000 cameras on him, a microscope waiting for a mistake to happen any minute. What he does have to do is show he is strong, he has the ability to do the job, and reassure people.
Trump appears to be keyed in on coverage of Biden in a surreptitiously recorded interview first obtained by the Daily Beast, the former of the race, and also calls Biden old and broken down.
When asked to comment on the video, Trump's campaign referred CNN to an earlier statement where they said, quote, Joe Biden is weak, failed, dishonest, and not fit for the White House. In Washington, Angie Gonzalez, Spectrum News.
For more on President Biden's efforts to salvage his campaign, our Jason Fechner joins us now. Jason, you're in Wisconsin, not far from where the president is set to speak today. So what does he need to do there and in his hotly anticipated ABC interview tonight to reassure voters?
Well, Jenna, happy belated 4th. And that is the big question, both for Biden, the campaign, of course, and the current administration as well. What does he have to do to kind of try to get over this hump if he is indeed going to do that? He's kind of facing 2 political battles, separate but equal, if you will. He's got to win back the support of any Democrats that he's lost since the debate, of course, and he still has to win re-election come November. Those are, of course, intertwined. So he had that rally after the admitted poor debate performance. The rally was last Friday. He was more energetic, and a lot of people said, okay, that's the Joe Biden that we know and love for the Democrats there, and he's going to be just fine going forward. But these questions have persisted after the rally. So I don't know if another rally will put a lot of these questions to bed. I think a lot of the focus, of course, is going to be on this ABC News interview with George Stephanopoulos, which we'll see later throughout the day on Friday. Will that be enough to kind of turn the tide and help the Biden campaign move past all this right now? We'll have to wait and see, because once again, if you're not able to do it in a rally, I don't know if you could do it in another rally here in Wisconsin later on Friday. So all eyes are on this interview. If not the interview, we'll have to see what comes after that, perhaps a town hall meeting where he's meeting with a lot of people and just kind of unscripted. Stay tuned. We'll see how they try to work to get over all of this.
Actually appeared alongside service members, sounding pretty lighthearted, and he told the press, "I'm not going anywhere." Well, that was a fairly strong moment, but he seemingly lost energy then. As the night got later, he spoke while watching the fireworks. So what do you make of all this?
Well, we'll let the viewers judge, obviously, how things went throughout the course of the 4th of July there. But he had just told the governors, Democratic governors who had met with the president earlier this week, that he needs to get more sleep right now and that he'll avoid late night events. So what does he do then on the 4th of July? He doesn't necessarily avoid a late night event. So if that's a concern for Biden and a concern for the campaign, they're kind of right back into it there on the 4th of July. And we should also mention, in the midst of all this too, Donald Trump and the Trump campaign are laying very low right now and kind of letting all of this play out on the Democratic side of the aisle. And interest is not really get into the fray more than they need to at this point. So you've got a lot of moving here in Wisconsin later today, and kind of, again, see how the campaign works to move forward and try to put a lot of this behind them, because they don't necessarily have a lot of time into November, of course, with the election to kind of turn the tide and get things moving again in the direction for that potential reelection bid.
Jason, all of this keeping you super busy. I know you have a few busy weeks ahead, but we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
The results are in, and Britain's Labour Party sweeps to power in the United Kingdom. The Conservative Party led the government for the last 14 years, but could not muster up the required 326 seats in Parliament. Labour leader Keir Starmer will officially become Prime Minister later today and will take charge in 10 Downing Street after all the votes are counted. Starmer says the party will offer, quote, the sunlight of hope, pale at first, but an extreme heat wave is fueling wildfires in California. The flames forcing thousands of residents in Northern California to evacuate. The fire has destroyed roughly 4,000 acres. At least 11 firefighters were injured battling those flames, mostly due to the heat.
This winter we had a significant amount of rain, but with rain brings growth. And the challenge with that is that fuels and vegetation continues to dry out, and in California that spells the next large wildfire.
There are more than 24 active wildfires burning in the state, with the Thompson fire being the largest. Coming up, a series of scary moments for Texas beachgoers yesterday, and officials are blaming just one shark for 4 encounters. That's straight ahead on Spectrum News.
Here's the deal. In this election year, people need a place to explore national issues that have an impact on their community. To understand those issues better, we're bringing together our team of local political journalists from across the country to break down what's happening. So join us every week to catch up on the key stories making a big difference across the nation and in your local community.
Watch The Big Deal with Errol Lewis Friday nights at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on Spectrum News Plus. Available on all of your favorite devices exclusively on Spectrum.
At Spectrum, we know that internet is a vital tool to help you fulfill your dreams.
My dream is to become a video game developer.
My dream is to get my online college degree. That's why Spectrum has affordable solutions to keep you connected. At Spectrum, we are committed to delivering reliable, affordable internet connected to what matters most to you.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I found hope in the midst of an overwhelming situation.
Alcoholism is a disease that can affect any family. Everyone suffers, but there is help and hope at Al-Anon Family Groups.
Al-Anon gave me my life back. I'm a better father and husband.
Are you in an overwhelming situation because of someone else's drinking? Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Local and virtual meetings are available. Maybe one could work for you. Call 1-833 or visit alanon.org/hope.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Julie Marquez with you here on a Friday morning. And again, we're talking about dangerous heat for parts of the west, but also in the southeast and mid-Atlantic too. In the Midwest and the Northeast, we have some rain today, and we are tracking Hurricane Beryl, and I'll have more on that in 10 minutes. I want to talk about the West Coast. Seattle's 86 today with lots of sunshine. Denver's 84. Look at Las Vegas, 113 degrees today with a low temperature of 86. And LA is climbing all the way to 90 degrees. Take a look at these temperatures. Phoenix is 113. We have Palm Springs, California, 118. Furnace Creek as 120. Ends up to parts of Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. Portland today, 99 degrees. And you look at all these heat alerts in place, and it's not just today. It's not just through the holiday weekend. But for some parts in California, the excessive heat warnings until Tuesday. Days and days where you need to be aware of this extremely hot weather. Middle part of the day, you want to try to be indoors if you can, certainly staying well hydrated too. For Florida, the southeast and parts of the mid-Atlantic, including around Virginia and Baltimore, parts of Pennsylvania, we have heat advisories today, so you will have above normal temperatures and high humidity too. Areas of rain and thunderstorms continue to break out in parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, and Ohio. Thunderstorms are going to be with us across the southeast, including in Birmingham and Atlanta. But for the East Coast, we also have some more showers moving in. That will carry us through the night tonight and even into Saturday. We have a chance of rain here, although it does get drier. So you've had so much rain in your area this morning. New York City, 88 degrees with a rain chance today. Boston's in the upper 80s with some rain moving in. Washington, D.C. near 100 degrees. Atlanta's 94 with some scattered storms around. And in Miami, typical Florida weather, hot and humid with rain chances.
If you're just joining us or you're heading out the door, here's a look at what you need to know. President Biden participating in a high-stakes interview on ABC tonight. He works to save his campaign following a disastrous debate performance and growing Democrat discontent. A new party is taking over power in the United Kingdom after Britain's Labour Party secured the required 326 seats in Parliament. Labour leader Keir Starmer will officially become Prime Minister, later Conservative rule after all the votes are counted. Hurricane Beryl is headed towards Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. This after carving a path of destruction through Jamaica. Beryl was the earliest Category 5 hurricane in the Atlantic ever and has since weakened. And that's what you need to know this morning. A shark causing chaos on South Padre Island in Texas yesterday. Police say at least 4 shark incidents were reported and 2 men were taken to the hospital for shark bites. Now, in addition to the 2 bites, another person was injured during an encounter. Texas Parks and Wildlife says one 6-foot-long shark is likely responsible for all the attacks. First responders are patrolling the shoreline and using drones to watch over that area. Technology is changing many aspects of daily life, including public safety. A police department in Ohio is staying ahead of the curve by adding a drone team. Spectrum says how officers are fighting crime from the sky.
It's an object that flies and has eyes.
I love the idea of a drone. I think that it brings an aspect that, especially the departments that are fortunate enough to have drones, you could get eyes in the sky instantly instead of having to wait for another city to come.
But Sergeant Connor Matson with the Manor on the Lake Police Department says it's more than that.
You could also maybe negate having to call out a canine from another city if you don't have one on duty.
Sergeant Matson is part of the drone team at Mentor-on-the-Lake Police Department. The department increasing its usage of technology to keep up with surrounding cities like Mentor and Willoughby. Matson in the process of getting licensed so he can fly this drone on the job.
Well, the main things we hope to use for things like structure fires that we just thought we had, we could put it up, we could see where the hot spots are. If there's a big building like Giant Eagle, we could see.
To their police department already proving to be a game changer.
About 2 weeks ago, we had a report of possibly 2 boats crashed over in the lake. Ultimately, my other officer, Officer Maron's got to be able to send up the drone, take it out there, and he saw that it was a few boats that were just meeting together to possibly either have a get together, maybe fishing or partying or something like that. We ended up calling the Coast Guard and they confirmed that it wasn't a boat wreck.
But this drone can also be used in life-threatening situations, like helping track down an active shooter, all while keeping officers out of harm's way.
It can locate one or more suspects if there is more than one suspect. We could also get a visual inside the room to see where they're at in the room. We could see if there's any victims, hopefully be able to treat the victims in the worst victims first and go from there.
The technology train is needed, but other departments aren't there just yet. In a Thomson Reuters data and technology study, about 33% of law enforcement surveyed saying they see issues with keeping technology up to date in their departments. And one thing Matson is sure of is he'll always be on the job with or without technology.
Back in the old days, we didn't have electronics, we didn't have the technology, so there's always been forms of taking care of business, if you want to say, without electronics.
For Spectrum News, I'm Wiley Johari.
Amazon founder Jeff Bezos plans to sell $5 billion worth of company shares after the stock hit a record high on Tuesday. Bezos disclosed the proposed sale of the 25 million shares in a regulatory notice filed after the market closed Tuesday. Bezos would still own 912% of the company. A spokesperson for Amazon declined to comment. Hot dog heroes, the king of competitive eating, chows down at a new contest. That story is coming up on Spectrum News.
Spectrum News Plus. News from a new perspective. Dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the nation. With balanced reporting, providing real context and in-depth coverage 24 hours a day.
Here's a look at your forecast across the country.
Local stories, connecting communities. We are Spectrum News Plus. Streaming now on the Spectrum News app and free with your Spectrum subscription.
I don't remember how it started. Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Hey, Bobo. I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps? I couldn't tell you. Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
I'm meteorologist Julie Marquez, tracking Hurricane Beryl as it works its way across Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. Areas here like Cancun and Tulum and Cozumel, Playa del Carmen, this area where we have the hurricane warning, along with the heavy rain and the storm surge of about 3 to 6 feet, and some of that heavy rain that will lead to some flooding. Now, a heads up. For parts of South Texas and Northeast Mexico, there will likely be watches issued because there's potential impacts in a couple of days. When you look at the spaghetti plot, Beryl is going to weaken as it works its way across the Yucatan this morning and this afternoon. But then it emerges in the Gulf, could get a little bit stronger. But you'll notice what's happening. A lot of the guidance is now showing more of a turn to the north, which means areas near Brownsville, South Padre Island, Corpus Christi, and other parts of Texas could feel some impacts from Beryl beginning Sunday. And then that would linger into Monday too, as it slows down a little bit. Now, this is one of several computer models that we watch. You can see the center of it working its way across land and then emerging out into the Gulf. As this happens, it's going to rip currents to parts of the Texas coast over the weekend. And then on Sunday morning, we'll have to watch this closely. Will it move more west-northwest or move a little bit more to the north? Too soon to say. You have to keep in mind that the track error is about 100 miles at day 3. So it's too soon to say exact impacts in Texas, but certainly you need to pay close attention to this system. We'll be keeping you up to date. In the Midwest today, you'll be keeping close attention to the rain and some thunderstorms too. Milwaukee, rainy and 77 degrees. Chicago, 81 with some rain. Des Moines, 77. Indianapolis, rain today and 85. Kansas City, you're drying out, 82 degrees. Lots of sunshine for today. We also have areas of rain dotting parts of the Northeast, maybe some flight delays today or tomorrow for that part of the country. Also, look at these thunderstorms breaking out near Atlanta, and for parts of Florida into Saturday. Orlando, Tampa, going to see some scattered showers and storms. More rain with areas of heavy rain possible. And our temperatures for today are still very hot out west with heat advisories and excessive heat warnings through the holiday weekend. And look at Washington, D.C. at 95 degrees tomorrow.
It's a 4th of July tradition just as popular as the fireworks and barbecues. And this year, a new mustard belt winner was crowned at the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest. Spectrum's Nia Clark reports from Coney Island, New York.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
The stakes are high in Coney Island on the 4th of July. The coveted mustard belt and a $20,000 cash prize on the table.
Nathan's is amazing. It's like the Times Square of July 4th.
This is my first time. It's incredible. Support America, support capitalism, support consumption in these tough times.
First up, the women's competition. Reigning champion Miki Sudo leading the field of 14 contestants, getting a push by Maoi Ibihara of Japan, who also did not let up. One-time Nathan's hot dog eating champion Michelle Lesko a distant third. She knew this was going to be a tough mountain to climb after recently having some dental work done.
The 50 hot dog threshold has been broken.
Not only does Sudo of Florida win the women's race, but she crosses the 50 dog threshold, being the first woman to do so with a new personal best of 51 francs in 10 minutes, making Sudo a 10-time champion.
Even 10 years into this, I still have more to show. The women's record's just going to improve from here on out, and there are a lot of exciting things to come.
It was awesome. It was a nail bite. They were back-to-back, neck biting. It was so awesome to see it in person.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Next up, the men's competition. Arguably the most competitive contest in years, with the absence of 16-time champion Joey Chestnut, who is not competing this year after a dispute over representing a rival brand that sells plant-based dogs, leaving the top dog slot up for grabs.
I was very disappointed. I almost didn't come because I thought, what kind of a contest is it without Joey Chestnut?
Patrick Bertoletti of Chicago leading the pack of 15 contestants with Jeffrey Esper hot on his trail. The presumed favorite to win, Australia native James Webb, neck and neck for a time with Miki Sudo's husband, Nick Wary, for third place. In the end, not only does Bertoletti win this race, but he breaks his own personal best record of 50, leaving with the mustard belt and a new career high of 58 hot dogs and buns.
It was all focused today, no mohawk, just hot water, and I wasn't going to stop eating until the job was done.
I feel inspired. I feel patriotic. I think George Washington would have wanted this event to happen exactly as it did.
Nia Clark, Spectrum News.
One of America's most prestigious eaters didn't partake in yesterday's Nathan's hot dog eating contest on Coney Island. Instead, Joey Chestnut, the Nathan's 16-time winner, took on the United States Army in a hot dog eating extravaganza at Fort Bliss in El Paso. Now, the world champion eater out-ate the 4 competing soldiers combined, taking down 57 hot dogs in 5 minutes. Well, that number was just one short of Pat Bertoletti, who munched 58 glizzies to win Nathan's hot dog contest. I'm done. I'm Jenna Enoch. Thanks so much for watching. Your Spectrum News in 90 is coming up right after this short break. Stay with us.
The 2024 election will decide who leads our nation and the balance of power in Congress, impacting all of us. From Capitol Hill to the Oval Office, let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth coverage with our dedicated experts in local politics. In your community, that's our mission. Available on all of your favorite devices, exclusively on Spectrum.
At Spectrum, our workforce of over 100,000 employees are all located right here in the U.S. You can find them in our stores, in the field, and in our call centers with 100% U.S.-based customer service. Our team works hard to provide the towns, cities, and neighborhoods they live in with the reliable services that everyone counts on, making us one of America's most trusted companies. We're Spectrum, creating jobs and opportunities across the country and proud to be 100% U.S.-based.
When I never graduated from high school, I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed to come back to school. I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual, and she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out."